Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Reborn as Gohan in future timeline. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name in the description below. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update. What If Ninja in Jujutsu Kaisen will be going on hold soon, since we've nearly caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What if Reborn as Goku clone? What if Natsu has dual elements? What if Transmigrated in one piece and becoming a marine? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 121. Today's mission is to destroy 100 unsalvageable Death Stars. It's really tiring. It's getting harder and harder to be the god of destruction. Beerus and Whis left, and Gohan sat next to Broly and started to talk with him. Broly now talks a lot more than before, and there is no barrier to communication. Under Whis's guidance, Broly's control over both strength and emotions has improved to a great extent. In other words, Broly can still stay somewhat sober even when he turns on the legendary Super Saiyan form. Well, he is a somewhat rational fighting madman. Broly, let's fight. Gohan invited Broly to fight. Although he was training every day, Gohan hadn't fought anyone for a while, and his body was thirsty for fighting. Sure, Broly's eyes lit up. Saiyans are like this. They have not only hot blood flowing in their veins but also warlike genes. This gene is deeply engraved in the bones of every pure-blooded Saiyan. Only mixed-blood Saiyans can become peace-loving and less fond of fighting. But Gohan, a mixed blood, is different. At first, Gohan had to fight. But after transforming into Super Saiyan 4, his blood power may have been sublimated, and he became very warlike. In addition, he has now loaded a new beast form transformation. Every cell in his body seems to be addicted to fighting. This is what he strongly desires. Videl has endured too much for this. And Broly will be the second victim of the day. The two men soared into the air and slammed into each other wildly, causing bursts of ki explosions. However, this was just a competition between good friends, and it was naturally impossible for the two to risk their lives and fight with all their strength. But as the fight went on, Broly went berserk again, and he couldn't control his strength. He turned into a green-haired, legendary Super Saiyan form. Beerus' planet was constantly shaken by his green ki explosion, and the inverted triangle planet lost a corner in an instant. Gohan walked out of the thick smoke, raised his hand to wipe the dust off his face, and laughed. "Ha, Broly, you're in so much trouble. When Lord Beerus comes back, he will definitely punish you." Ah. Broly has entered rampage mode and can no longer care about so many things. His figure flashed, and he moved at high speed to pounce on the ground and punch Gohan. He could no longer dodge. Otherwise, this punch would hit the ground directly, and there would be another crack of several kilometers on Beerus' planet. It is not advisable to destroy the house while the owner is away. In an instant, Gohan's silver hair soared into the sky, his body surrounded by purple and red lightning, and silver airwaves surged. He stretched out his right palm in an instant and grasped Broly's fist tightly. A strong light suddenly exploded, and the airwaves rippled out in circles. The nearby woods made a rustling sound, and leaves flew everywhere. Broly's fist could no longer move forward half an inch. The next moment, Broly was stunned, a look flashed in his eyes, and he regained consciousness. "Ah, I lost my mind again," Broly said apologetically. "It's okay, you've made great progress," Gohan encouraged him. "Well, when Lord Beerus asks about it, just say that Broly blew it up." At this moment, a beam of light descended from the sky. Two figures walked out of the white light, and Gohan knew who was coming without turning his head. The people who came were the guide angels and gods of destruction of the sixth universe, Vados and Kampa. Somehow, these two people sneaked into the seventh universe again. "Ah, Gohan, what's with this weird look on you now? And who is this green-haired kid?" Kampa came over and asked with his hands on his hips. Gohan and Broly instantly returned to normal. Broly looked at Vados and Kampa curiously. Gohan smiled and replied, "A new transformation." As for Broly, he is also a Scion. A new transformation, isn't that nonsense? How perverted is Gohan to keep improving like this? Kampa complained in his heart, turned his head, and said to Vados, "Hey, Vados, we should have Scions in the 6th universe, right? The Scions in the 7th universe are so weird. Are they the same over there?" Oh, yes, Lord Kampa, let me look for it. Vados said, shaking the scepter in her hand, and the black magic bead on the top of the scepter vibrated. She soon got what she wanted to know. The Scions of our 6th universe, well, the planet they live on is called Salata, but as far as I know, they don't change into various strange forms, and their combat power is not very outstanding. That's strange. Kampa shook his head repeatedly. Logically speaking, shouldn't all Scions be the same? I don't know, Lord Kampa, Vados said with a smile. Phew, I'm too lazy to think about it. I'm getting hungry from thinking about it. Gohan, where are Beerus and Whis? Why can't I see them? Kampa looked around and then asked Gohan. It was understandable that Beerus was sleeping, but it was very unreasonable that Whis was not there. Gohan chuckled and said, "Hee, Lord Kampa, you may not believe it, but Lord Beerus has been working hard recently and went to do his job." Hearing what Gohan said, Kampa waved his hands repeatedly. Impossible, absolutely impossible. How could he not know his brother's habits? Working hard? Don't even think about it, right? He must have secretly gone out to play, and then lied to Gohan that he was going to work. Ha, Beerus is really insidious and cunning. Lord Kampa, it seems that Master Beerus has really gone to work, Vados said, pointing to the glowing magic bead. On the magic bead, Beerus was carefully observing the ruined planets, and then destroyed them. Kampa's body trembled. Ah, what happened? Did someone threaten Beerus? He held his head with both hands, his expression extremely painful. The brother who had been lazy suddenly went to work. That feeling was more painful than killing him. Ah! Kampa seemed to be crazy, shouting like Broly. He couldn't accept this at all. He couldn't understand it, and he didn't dare to agree with it. No, it's not me who's crazy, it must be Beerus who's crazy. Vados, hurry up, go and see what happened to Beerus. Oh, okay, Lord Kampa. Vados laughed, and then the two of them turned into a beam of light and soared into the sky, looking for Beerus. It really came and went quickly, just like some short-lived love. Broly, let's go too. I'll take you to see the Supreme Kai planet. Oh, okay. Broly nodded. Chapter 122. On the planet Kaisen, Shin the Supreme Kai is trying hard to learn how to create small animals and trees. Until now, he still can't create asteroids. That's because the Grand Supreme Kai and the other four died too early, and the young Shin didn't learn more, so he broke the inheritance of the Supreme Kai and became the worst Supreme Kai in the 12 universes. No doubt about it. If his ancestor hadn't been released by Gohan, Shin wouldn't know when he would be able to come into contact with the creation laws of the Supreme Kai. The old Supreme Kai watched from the side, shaking his head and cursing. You are truly the worst Supreme Kai I have ever taught. Shin didn't dare to refute, he could only work harder, hoping that old Supreme Kai wouldn't get too angry. In fact, Shin's talent wasn't that bad. Old Kai said that just to make him improve faster. After all, his lifespan is not long. Whoosh! Gohan teleported with Broly. Ah, Mr. Gohan, why are you here? Supreme Kai Shin was delighted to see Gohan. Before Gohan could answer, Shin was scolded by the old Kai. What does he have to do with you? Don't be distracted, just practice hard. The old ancestor is really strict, Supreme Kai Shin thought to himself. Then, he saw the old Supreme Kai pulling Gohan aside with a kind face. Broly stood behind him like a statue, which immediately doubled his pressure. He had seen Broly go crazy, and that look was simply too scary. On the other side, two people were conducting a secret transaction. Gohan, the latest issue isn't out yet? The author hasn't updated yet? Catch him here and whip him to rush it. Old Kai urged. Gohan smiled awkwardly. Well, it's not that he hasn't updated it, but you may not be able to accept the content of this issue, Grandpa. What kind of storms have I not seen? I don't believe it unless I see it. Old Kai put his hands on his waist. All right. In fact, Gohan doesn't dare to watch this issue, mainly because the author is too perverted. The AI-18 action movie has been updated for several seasons. Maybe the author feels that it is no longer fresh and the sales are not as good as before. So a big wave came, AI-17 series. Although number 17 does look like a woman, he is indeed a man. Gohan, who knows the details, finds it difficult to accept this heaven-defying series. He can't hold it at all. But old Kai doesn't know. He watched with shining eyes and kept sighing. TSK, isn't this good? What's unacceptable about this? It really is. Gohan quietly moved his butt to the side, away from old Kai. It's better not to tell old Kai the truth. Old Kai is old, and he should be left with a beautiful fantasy. While old Kai was still swimming in the ocean of knowledge, Gohan went to see the Senza bean garden where the buds had bloomed. It is growing very well. Well, very good, it won't be long before he can have a good harvest. Then he can expand the scale and plant a large area of it. Then he can use it to grind soy milk and make tofu pudding. Gohan smacked his lips and flew to see Majin Buu's seal ball. Then, Gohan brought Broly back to Earth and sent him to Paragus. At the same time, in a dead galaxy somewhere in the 7th universe, Kampa kept screaming beside Beerus. Beerus, what are you doing? You don't sleep, are you mentally ill? Humph, what do you care? Go back to your 6th universe and stop bothering me here. Beerus will not give him a good look. Beerus, you must be crazy, ha ha ha. Kampa pointed at Beerus and laughed. On the other side, Vados also started communicating with Whis. Vados asked with a smile, Whis, what's going on? Sister Vados, it is like this. So, Whis explained the cause of the matter in a vivid way. After listening to Whis's story, Vados covered her mouth and chuckled, oh, so that's how it is. No wonder Lord Beerus is so busy. It turns out that he is most afraid of His Majesty the Omni King. But Lord Kampa is too lazy. He hasn't exercised properly for decades, and his body has become much slower. Whis said, Sister, you should also guide Lord Kampa. I think what Gohan said makes sense. A long time ago, there were more than 12 universes in our world. You should know better than me what happened later. You are right, Vados nodded seriously. Kampa kept pestering Beerus, causing Beerus's work efficiency to drop significantly. Therefore, Beerus also got angry, and the two brothers bumped their heads together, baring their teeth, and were about to fight. Whis and Vados were forced to take action and forcibly separated Beerus and Kampa like carrying a child. After that, Kampa and Vados returned to the 6th universe. Half a year later, the Supreme God Realm above the 12 universes. The Supreme God Realm does not belong to any of the 12 universes. This is the highest plane that has separated from the 12 universes. From here, each of the 12 universes is like a round magic bead floating in the sky. Like a toy, it looks extremely small. In the huge temple of the Omni King, the ruler of the 12 universes, that is, the highest authority, the Omni King, woke up from the soft chair. As the supreme ruler of the 12 universes, the Omni King should be the greatest person in the world. But who knows, His Majesty the Omni King, who controls the rules of the 12 universes, looks like a kid. It's probably because the creator of the higher plane has a very strange bad taste. The Omni King sat up straight and said in a baby voice, I'm awake. It's so boring. I don't know how long I slept. The two tall guards who had been standing by the chair bowed to him immediately. One of the guards said, Your Majesty, you only slept for 20,000 kicks, one kick is approximately equal to 8 hours. Where is the Grand Priest? The king rubbed his eyes. At this moment, the space next to him shook and the Grand Priest appeared out of thin air. Your Majesty, you are looking for me. The Grand Priest put his hands behind his back, bowed slightly, smiled and said, looking very gentlemanly. Behind the Grand Priest was a round angel halo, and he was the father of the 12 guide angels. The Omni King looked at the Grand Priest and thought for a moment, then asked, "Grand Priest, what is the current average level of mortals in the 12 universes?" The Grand Priest smiled and replied, "Universe 1 is still far ahead, and the growth rate of Universe 12 is very amazing. It is currently ranked second. As for other universes, there is not much difference. It is in a state of stagnation, and some universes have even declined." The Omni King sighed, "What? There is no progress at all? It's so boring. It seems so troublesome to look at them one by one. It's so boring." The Grand Priest smiled and said, "Then what game does His Majesty the King want to play?" "Games? Does the Grand Priest have any good suggestions?" The Omni King looked at the Grand Priest with shining eyes. Chapter 123. "If it's a game, then I will call back all the angels from all the universes and have them play games with His Majesty the King," the Grand Priest said to the king with a smile on his face. "Ah, they are so boring, they don't talk much." After a pause, he continued, "Grand Priest, there are still too many universes now. It seems very troublesome to manage them. How about we play a game to eliminate some universes?" The two guards next to him were shocked. "Are they going to eliminate universes again?" The Grand Priest bowed to the Omni King and then said, "As you command, I will call all the guides back to discuss this matter now. If they can't think of a more fun game, then we can play the game of universe elimination." The Grand Priest said, and the angel's staff appeared in his hand. At the same time, in the 7th universe, on the planet of the god of destruction, Whis stood quietly by the lake with the staff in hand. Beerus was lying on a rock and snoring. He was exhausted. Gohan, Trunks, Broly, and Piccolo, several people crossed their legs and watched the fight not far away. The ones fighting at this time were Vegeta and Goku. According to Whis' request, the two could not use any transformations and could only fight in normal form. But even in normal combat, the two still fought very well. At this moment, the black magic bead on the top of Whis' staff flickered. Then the voice of the Grand Priest was heard. "Dear guide angels, I am the Grand Priest. Please reply if you hear this." This scene happened simultaneously in 12 universes. All angels heard the Grand Priest's voice. Whis was surprised. "Oh, it's the Grand Priest's communication." He immediately responded, "Yes, Grand Priest." Beerus, who was lying on the stone, moved his ears and jumped up instantly. "Who is it, Whis?" He ran towards Whis, and his ears seemed to hear an extraordinary name. Whis smiled and said, "It's the communication from the Grand Priest." "Ah? Grand Priest?" Beerus stood up straight immediately. Beerus' shout was so loud that Gohan heard it. A communication from the Grand Priest? Gohan had a bad feeling. He stood up and walked towards Whis. The magic bead emitting green light continued to transmit the Grand Priest's voice. "There is something important that needs to be announced. Please prepare the guide angels to come to the palace of His Majesty the Omni King with the God of Destruction and the Grand Supreme Kai. The announcement is complete." Beerus, who was standing straight, froze for a moment. "Do you want to go see the Omni King?" Whis ignored him and immediately contacted the Supreme Kai to convey the Grand Priest's will. Only a few seconds later, Supreme Kai was sent to the Beerus planet by Kibito and came to the side of Whis. Gohan frowned. This familiar plot, if he guessed correctly, Zeno might have been awake and preparing to prune some universes. To be safe, he immediately used his prophetic power to predict the future. A brief picture flashed in his mind, and the content was that the 7th universe was erased. Everything returned to chaos and became as dark as ink. It was a world without any vitality. What does this mean? Just erase the universe directly, not. Has the tournament of power been held? A few beads of sweat rolled down Gohan's forehead. Yes, according to the plot, no one should have proposed to hold the tournament of power. Therefore, with Zeno's nature, he directly wiped out several universes, including the 7th universe, which has always been ranked last. Fortunately, he made a wish to Shenron for the ability to predict the future, otherwise, this wave would have exploded on the spot. No, he has to save the universe. Gohan wiped the sweat from his forehead and said quickly, Lord Beerus, Lord Supreme Kai, Master Whis, I just used the ability to predict the future and saw a very scary scene. The 7th universe will be wiped out. I think you all know what this means. The Grand Priest has summoned everyone here to discuss this matter. What? Wipe out the universe? Besides Whis, who was still able to remain calm, Beerus and Supreme Kai jumped up. Beerus's eyes were as big as bells, and Supreme Kai Shin was trembling all over, with his pupils shrinking. Really? Gohan? He asked tremblingly. Gohan nodded, well, I made a wish to Shenron, which can predict those very dangerous things in the next week. I just saw the scene of the disappearance of the 7th universe. What should we do then? Supreme Kai Shin became anxious. Beerus also looked at Gohan, who usually had the most ideas. Tell me what your idea is. Gohan said, according to my guess, the reason why the Omni King wants to eliminate our 7th universe is that he thinks our universe is ranked the lowest. Both Lord Beerus and Lord Supreme Kai have a very important responsibility in this regard. Gohan decided to put pressure on them first and make them feel a little guilty. Seeing that they didn't speak, he continued, but it's not that there is no way to remedy the situation. The way is to let the Omni King see the potential of our 7th universe and let him give up the idea of eliminating our universe. Do you understand? You too, please do as I say, and there may be a glimmer of hope. Otherwise, you will just have to wait for death. Lord Supreme Kai, you will propose to His Majesty the Omni King to hold a tournament of power among universes so that the Omni King can see the potential of our 7th universe. Power tournament? What is that? Asked Supreme Kai. After he asked, Beerus answered, it's the kind that Kampa mentioned last time, right? Each universe sends a few warriors to fight, and the one who remains is the winner. Gohan nodded, yes, it's that kind of fight. Not only that, the universe that wins first place will also be awarded a prize. The prize can be determined by the Omni King. But I suggest a prize as well. What prize? Beerus asked. Gohan looked at Whis and said, Senior Whis, you should have heard of the Super Dragon Balls, right? Whis nodded and said, well, that is the Super Dragon Ball created by the Dragon God Zalama. There are 7 in total, mainly scattered in the 6th and 7th universes. It is said that collecting 7 Dragon Balls to summon the Super Dragon can fulfill any wish. That's right, that's what I'm talking about. We can add this reward, Gohan nodded. After saying that, Gohan still felt that it was not safe enough. After all, both Supreme Kai and Beerus looked very unreliable. One knows nothing, and the other doesn't care about anything, which is really hurtful. The only reliable one, Whis, is a guide angel and generally doesn't interfere in these things, so he can't be counted on to ignite the fuse of the Tournament of Power. Gohan continued, Lord Beerus, take me with you. No, absolutely not, Beerus shook his head. Are you kidding? How can a human set foot in the temple of the Omni King? This is a crime of disrespect. Gohan begged, Lord Beerus, for the sake of the 7th universe and everyone's lives, please help me, okay? But you are just a mortal. It is not in accordance with the rules to set foot in the temple of the Omni King. You will be blamed by His Majesty the Omni King. Beerus was also very anxious. Then, you can say that I am your apprentice and disciple, and I am here to gain more knowledge. He will definitely not blame you. But? No buts, it's too late. At this moment, the voice of the Grand Priest sounded again. Are all the guide angels ready? Chapter 124. Whis said, I'm ready. Okay, I'll call you all here now, the voice of the Grand Priest sounded again. As Beerus struggled, Gohan tightly grasped the corner of his clothes. The next moment, Gohan felt his body being pulled by a strange force. Then he appeared in the temple of the Omni King. 2 rows of figures knelt on one knee, looking at the ground and not daring to look up. There were angels, gods of destruction, and Grand Supreme Kai. These were the gods in the 12 universes. There were 3 people in each universe. Of course, there were exceptions, like the 7th universe, which had 4 people from one universe. In addition to the 7th universe, there was another universe that also had 4 people, that is, the 11th universe. The god of destruction of the 11th universe looks like a clown in a circus, dressed strangely, named Belmod, and the guide angel is called Margarita, a very beautiful girl with twin ponytails. The supreme Kai is called Kai, and the 4th person is the disciple of the clown god of destruction, the apprentice god of destruction, Topo. At this time, the grand priest was standing in front of everyone, and he spoke loudly. Please raise your heads. The gods of destruction and the angels all raised their heads. In addition to the grand priest, standing in front of them was the Omni King Zeno. The king greeted everyone, long time no see. The grand priest raised his eyes and looked around at the gods, then asked curiously, Hey, Lord Belmod, who was that behind you? Just because Topo was so tall and conspicuous in the crowd, he was noticed by the grand priest at once. The clown god of destruction of the 11th universe immediately explained, reporting to the grand priest, his name is Topo. In fact, I have been considering retiring recently. As a candidate for the god of destruction, he is currently undergoing my inspection and training. It happened that he was just next to me, and I thought this was also a rare experience, so I brought him here. Topo saw the opportunity and said quickly, I am Topo, my lord. The grand priest nodded and said, I see. Then please work hard to become a qualified god of destruction. Thank you for your encouragement, Topo was flattered. Then, the grand priest's eyes swept to the 7th universe. Oh, Lord Kampa, you also brought your disciples here? Ha, 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 Beerus laughed dryly. Yes, Grand Priest, his name is Gohan, and he is my disciple. Opposite Beerus was Kampa, who kept eyeing them. If this was not the temple of the Omni, Beerus really wanted to punch him. Hearing Beerus introduce himself, Gohan smiled and said, Hello, Grand Priest, hello, His Majesty the Omni King. Well, good, keep up the good work, the Grand Priest nodded. Unexpectedly, the Omni King followed and said, Your name is Gohan, right? You're very interesting. He looked at Gohan curiously. Because Gohan was the first person to greet him. Among all the angels and gods of destruction who came, including Topo just now, no one greeted him. Gohan smiled and said, Yes, Your Majesty, I will give you a gift later. Ah, really? Really? What is it? The king immediately asked curiously. Can you take it out now? All the gods of destruction were shocked. What kind of a bastard is this guy? How dare he talk to His Majesty the Omni King like this? He is too audacious. The angel's curious eyes also fell on Gohan. Of course I can, Gohan said. Then bring it to me now, the king continued. Okay, please wait a moment. Gohan stood up, walked out of the crowd, and walked towards the Omni King and the Grand Priest. All the gods of destruction kept swallowing their saliva as they looked at his back. Beerus even clenched his palms until they turned white. He was afraid that Gohan would speak without thinking and be eliminated by the Omni King. The Grand Priest smiled as Gohan walked over but did not stop him. Gohan smiled and nodded to him, walked to the Omni King Zeno, squatted down, and took out the toy car and colorful lollipop that he had bought for his son but had not yet given away. Here, Your Majesty, this is a truck, this is an excavator, and this is a remote control. You can control them by pressing this remote control. As for this, it is a lollipop, you can eat it, it is very sweet, Gohan said, tearing open the packaging of the lollipop and handing it to the Omni King Zeno. Ah, they look cool, the king looked at the toy cars and said happily, reaching out to take the lollipop and putting it in his mouth. Yeah, this lollipop is delicious too. Ha ha, ha. Watch this. Gohan raised his hand and pressed the remote control. The toy car whizzed away and circled the gods twice. He pressed the remote control again. The toy car made a clicking sound and transformed into a robot, a transformer. Wow, this is fun, this is fun. Zeno's eyes lit up. Here. Gohan gave him the remote control. Okay, thank you, Gohan, said the Omni King. You're welcome, Gohan said. Then, the gods watched Zeno and Gohan play with toy cars for half an hour. The gods. After a while, Gohan said, Your Majesty, I will go back to Lord Beerus. Zeno shook his head and said, No, you can just stand here. Okay then. The Grand Priest tilted his head to the king and asked, Your Majesty, may I read out your will? Zeno played with the Autobots in his hands, looked up blankly, and then remembered the original intention of summoning these people back. Oh, okay, you read it, Zeno said. Well, okay. The Grand Priest put his hands behind his back, facing the gods of the 12 universes, and said loudly, This urgent call for everyone to come here is for one thing. His Majesty the Omni King is very tired from managing the 12 universes. Therefore, the king wanted to play a game to relax. Each universe must come up with an interesting game to help the king relax. By the way, if all the universes fail to come up with a game that will satisfy His Majesty, the king will directly solve the root problem and clean up some universes that make him feel mentally exhausted. Okay, then I'll give you all 30 minutes to think about it. All the angels and gods of destruction were shocked. Clean up some universes that make His Majesty the Omni King feel mentally exhausted? The faces of those universes ranked at the bottom, whether they are the Grand Supreme Kai or the God of Destruction, turned black instantly. Especially Kampa, his whole body was soaked with cold sweat. It's over. Beerus is not much better either, because he is the second to last. Now he doesn't know that the 7th universe has become the 3rd to last. It can be said that the two are brothers in distress. Supreme Kai Shin whispered, Lord Beerus, Gohan is right after all. Poof. Beerus clenched his fists, beads of sweat rolling down his forehead. Chapter 125. Time was short. The Supreme Kai and the God of Destruction of each universe began to rack their brains to think about what game they should suggest. But things are often like this, the more nervous a person is, the less they can think of. Only the 7th universe had already made preparations. Supreme Kai Shin quickly perfected the content and showed it to Beerus, then made several revisions before submitting it to the Grand Priest. The submission speed ranked first among all universes. With the 7th universe taking the lead, other universes also submitted their own plans. Time was soon up. All universes had submitted their plans. The Grand Priest turned the scepter in his hand and projected the game suggestions submitted by the 12 universes into the air. All the gods of destruction and kings of Kai swallowed their saliva and waited nervously. The angels were very calm, and they all had expressions of eating melons. Okay, let's see what good game suggestions everyone has prepared. Universe 1, Guess the Riddle. Universe 2, Solitaire. Universe 3, Card Role-Playing Game. Universe 4, Hide and Seek. Universe 5, Treasure Hunt. Universe 6, Universe Fighting Tournament. Universe 7, The Tournament of Power. Universe 8, Counting Game. Universe 9, Cosmic Treasure Hunt. Universe 10, Rock, Paper, Scissors. Universe 11, Fighting Tournament. Universe 12, Memory Contest. Ha! 3 universes have proposed fighting tournaments. Although the 7th universe calls it the Tournament of Power, it is actually a fighting game, and it has a very detailed process. The Grand Priest smiled and said to the king, Your Majesty, is there a plan that you are interested in? That treasure hunt looks interesting. After these words were spoken, the God of Destruction and the Supreme Kai of the 9th universe were delighted. The average level of mortals in their universe was the lowest. If the Omni King could choose the game plan they proposed, it would be a plus in the Omni King's mind and would be good for their universe. The Grand Priest said, Does His Majesty want to play the treasure hunt? No, I just think this is interesting, but I want to watch the Tournament of Power that Gohan's universe is talking about. What kind of game is that? The Omni King asked, fiddling with the toy car in his hand. This game, as mentioned above, within a fixed time, each universe needs to send several strong people to participate in the full-view fighting until the opponent is forced out of the ring to be the winner. After the game time is over, the number of people on the ring will determine the winner. The universe with the most people left will win. The Omni King shook his head, looking confused. I still don't understand, so what is a fighting game? Oh, so His Majesty the Omni King doesn't know what a fighting game is. I see, then, let's have a simple all-round match here. Here it comes, the battle between the 12 gods of destruction is coming. Gohan's eyes lit up, and he was a little excited. To be honest, he really wanted to see the battle between the gods of destruction. Just thinking about it was very exciting. You know, each god of destruction is not simple. When they are put on the same stage at the same time, there will definitely be an extremely exciting battle. Then, let's turn this place into a ring. Snap, the Grand Priest said and snapped his fingers. As the sound fell, it was as if time and space shifted. The temple of the Omni King disappeared instantly. Instead, there was a huge rectangular arena. Above the arena were 13 circular viewing stands. The crowd that had been piled together was forcibly separated and divided by universe. The god of destruction, angels, and supreme Kai of each universe appeared on a viewing stand at the same time. In the center, on the viewing stand with the best view, stood the Grand Priest, the Omni King, and the 2 guards of the Omni King. Gohan, who was originally standing next to the Omni King, was also thrown to the stands of the 7th universe. Just when everyone was stunned, they heard the Grand Priest say loudly, "Okay, then next, please invite Mr. Gohan and Mr. Toppo to the stage." Gohan was stunned. This wasn't how the plot was going to play out, was it? What the hell, he wanted to see the battle between the gods of destruction. How did he suddenly go from being a spectator to being a participant in the battle? Hey, kid, stop being in a daze and get down quickly, or the king will be angry soon, Beerus reminded. At this time, Toppo had already jumped into the ring. Well, alright, Gohan had no choice but to nod, jumped off the viewing platform, and came to the ring. Toppo and Gohan stood 20 meters apart. They looked at each other. Speaking of which, Toppo looked very strange. He was very tall, but his legs were very short. A big white beard made it impossible to guess his age, and his big hands with white gloves were more than twice as big as his legs. In short, he was a very weird-looking mortal. From the perspective of Earthlings, the ratio was not good at all. The Grand Priest also came to the ring and stood between the two of them. He said, "Fight to your heart's content, and show the charm of fighting to the Omni King. By the way, if the fight makes His Majesty the Omni King dissatisfied, you too may face the end of your lives, that is, being eliminated." "Ah, yes, Grand Priest," Toppo said quickly. "Okay," Gohan also nodded. Then, the fight begins. The Grand Priest raised his hand and announced the start of the game, then flashed back to the side of the Omni King. Toppo stared at Gohan and took the starting position for attack. Gohan clenched his fists and suddenly became Super Saiyan 4. Looking at Gohan's sudden change, Toppo was surprised for a moment. But he was not too surprised. After all, there are actually many races in the universe that can transform. "Humph," Toppo snorted coldly, stepped hard on the ring, and rushed towards Gohan at high speed. He decided to take the initiative. Although Toppo's body shape is strange, his speed is extremely fast. It took only a few tenths of a second for him to arrive in front of Gohan, and his huge fist hit him straight. This guy is testing him, Gohan thought to himself, raised his hand and slapped Toppo's huge arm, and Toppo's force was immediately redirected and passed by. Toppo, who had passed by, did a roundhouse kick and swept across the air. But Gohan quickly moved sideways, and Toppo's fierce attack immediately missed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. But Toppo's attacks continued, and his legs kicked out repeatedly, making bursts of air explosions. Gohan kept dodging, wandering around his attacks, and then punched out, hitting Toppo's lower abdomen. With a dull thud, Toppo's body was hit hard and flew backward. Toppo's body rolled twice in the air and landed steadily on the edge of the ring. He stared at Gohan with more caution. Gohan grinned and said, "Ha, is this the level of the candidate god of destruction of the 11th universe? Don't be complacent. You don't even have the key of God. How can you beat me? Now I'll show you my strength." Toppo said this with a gloomy face. He clenched his fists tightly, and the muscles all over his body trembled. A layer of fiery ki immediately wrapped around his body, and the ki of God became stronger. "Come on," Gohan waved to him. "Humph." Toppo snorted again and swung his palm. Long-range attack. A strong gust of wind blew in his face. Gohan jumped into the air, and the place where he had just stood exploded. "Then you will also take my move," Gohan said, and a blood-red ki blast flew out of his hand and hit Toppo. Toppo was unable to dodge, and the ki blast exploded directly on his body. Suddenly, thick smoke and heat waves rose up. Chapter 126. If Gohan used all his strength, Toppo would definitely be killed in 1 second. But in this case, the battle would look very bad, and it might make everyone feel that the fighting tournament is meaningless. They might give up holding the tournament of power and directly wipe out the universe, which would be bad. In addition, it is not a fight of life and death now, so Gohan tried his best to control his fighting power, making Toppo feel that the difference in strength is not big, giving him the illusion that he can win. Toppo rushed out from the thick smoke, with a section of the white beard at the corner of his mouth burned off, but he was not seriously injured. You are nothing but that. What big talk did you say just now?" He snorted coldly and turned into a shadow to rush towards Gohan, using his hands and feet to launch a fierce attack. Gohan tried his best to cooperate with him, and the fight was crackling. The gods and the Omni King who were watching the fight started to discuss. Beerus muttered in a low voice, What on earth is Gohan playing at? He can obviously knock that Toppo away in one go, but he is still fighting like this. Lord Beerus, if Gohan dominates too much then the fight might be too boring to the Omni King. Supreme Kaisen immediately told the truth. Sure enough, after the wonderful fight, the Omni King in the viewing stand was delighted. Wow, they fought so well, it was really exciting. The Grand Priest stood beside him and smiled slightly. He actually saw that Gohan had held back, but since His Majesty the Omni King was happy to watch, there was no need to pursue it. The rest of the gods sighed, especially those slightly weaker gods of destruction and Supreme Kai. They were all surprised. This is amazing. Has this battle already touched upon the realm of God? But that guy named Gohan obviously doesn't have the key of God. Is he fighting against God with his mortal body? Hearing other destroyers' discussion, the clown destroyer said nonchalantly, although he is powerful, he is far inferior to Jiren. The twin-tailed angel Margarita smiled meaningfully but didn't say anything. On the ring, Toppo became anxious after seeing that he couldn't defeat Gohan for a long time. He shouted, HAA, and a black and red aura jumped around his body. This is Destruction Key? Gohan frowned. That's right, I am the candidate for the God of Destruction of Universe 11. For the honor of Belmont-sama, I absolutely cannot lose. The veins on Toppo's bald head popped out as he said loudly. Oh, then you can give it a try, Gohan said with a smile. Toppo opened the 5 fingers of his right hand, and a black and purple ki blast hit Gohan. The ki blast was filled with destructive ki, and the momentum was extraordinary. Compared with before, a huge change had taken place. At the same time, Gohan's body also burst out with a strong aura, and he did not retreat but advanced. He rushed towards Toppo. Toppo, that's it. Gohan shouted, waving his right hand and slapping away Toppo's destructive ki blast. The next moment he appeared in front of Toppo and slapped him with his palm. What? Toppo was shocked. He felt a gust of wind rushing, and his body was blown away. Just a moment ago, Gohan seemed to have burst out with an extremely powerful force. Toppo had the illusion that he was facing Jiren. Damn, this guy actually hid his strength just now. Thinking of this, Toppo roared unwillingly. However, under the impact of the powerful force, he could not control his body at all and was swept off the ring by the gust of wind. Wow! There was a burst of noise from the stands. The clown destroyer rubbed his eyes and couldn't believe it. How is it possible? How did Toppo lose? Lord Belmod, it is entirely possible because that Gohan concealed his strength, Margarita said with a smile. Damn, the sinister 7th universe. The clown god of destruction clenched his fists, furious. As the referee of this game, the Grand Priest announced loudly, "Toppo is out of bounds, Gohan wins this game." "Ah, great, well done, Gohan." Beerus raised his right hand and clenched his fist, as if to declare the victory of the 7th universe. "Mr. Gohan is so awesome." Supreme Kaisen also laughed happily. Gohan walked to the edge of the ring and looked down at Toppo below the ring. Toppo also looked up at Gohan, his eyes full of unwillingness and anger. He actually lost this battle of honor. Universe 11 lost, and lost so thoroughly. This guy is powerful. I'm afraid only Jiren can defeat him. After all, in terms of combat power alone, Jiren's strength has surpassed Lord Belmod. This guy called Gohan can never compete with the real god of destruction. He must not, at least Toppo is unwilling to believe it. The Omni King in the stands stood up. "Wow, this is really exciting and a very interesting game. Grand Priest, let's hold this tournament of power." "Yes, Your Majesty." The Grand Priest bowed slightly. But Zeno went on to say, "Grand Priest, but what is a melee?" "A melee means that many people are fighting on the stage at the same time," the Grand Priest smiled and said. "Well, let's let the gods of destruction from all universes demonstrate it to His Majesty the Omni King." Okay. The Omni King agreed. At this time, Gohan and Toppo had just returned to their respective stands. The voice of the Grand Priest rang out again. "Next, all the gods of destruction, please come to the stage." What? The gods of destruction of the 12 universes were all shocked. "Are we going to join the battle too?" "Please wait a moment, Grand Priest, why do we have to join the battle too?" a god of destruction asked. The Grand Priest put his hands behind his back, looking intimidating without getting angry. He smiled and said, "Because His Majesty the Omni King doesn't know what a melee means, the god of destruction is also a member of the 12 universes, and it is their duty to clear up His Majesty the Omni King's doubts." The air suddenly became silent. Beads of sweat rolled down Kampa's forehead. Oh no, I haven't exercised properly in the past few decades, now I'm in trouble." Vados laughed so hard that her body shook with laughter. Ha, who told Lord Kampa to be lazy? Now he has become fat, but don't worry, Lord Kampa won't die. What a black-bellied woman. Kampa glared at her and then jumped onto the ring. Although the other 11 gods of destruction were not very willing, they did not dare to disobey the Grand Priest and the Omni King, and they all jumped onto the ring. Each god of destruction had his own little thoughts in his heart. Some wanted to take the opportunity to beat up the one they didn't like, some wanted to fish in troubled waters, and some wanted to prove that they are the strongest gods of destruction. The gods of destruction looked at each other with ill intentions, and sneered at the corners of their mouths. The mouse god of destruction, Quitella, looked up and asked, "Lord Grand Priest, what rule should we fight by?" The Grand Priest put his hands behind his back, looked down at the ring, and said, "I want to wait until I finish watching the game before formulating some rules. Fight first. The god of destruction who wins in the end will receive a reward from His Majesty the Omni King. By the way, if a god of destruction holds back, he will be eliminated on the spot." The Grand Priest's voice was warm, but his words were extremely cold. The 12 gods of destruction trembled, and their breathing became rapid. Chapter 127. Damn it, I don't want to be destroyed. This is what most of the gods of destruction thought. They decided to go all out and fight. The mouse god of destruction Quitella stared at Beerus and said, This is good, Beerus, maybe this time we will know who is the strongest god of destruction." "Humph, you dead rat, can you compare with me?" Beerus said angrily. "It's your fault that you, a hairless cat, refused to admit defeat to me." Quitella folded his arms and grinned. "Come on, you idiot, that was an arm wrestling match, not a fighting match, and I won't lose in a fighting match." "Really? You'll know in a minute. Who is afraid of whom? Come on." The battle hadn't started yet, but Beerus and Quitella had already started to confront each other. Of course, in addition to the rat god of destruction, there were many other gods of destruction who had their eyes on Beerus. It was clear that Beerus's fame was extremely bad. almost all gods of destruction bore a grudge against Beerus. In the stands, several gods of destruction surrounded Beerus. Supreme Kaisen wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and couldn't help but worry about him. Lord Beerus doesn't seem to be very popular. Whis on the side laughed and said, that's because something terrible happened before. What happened? Asked Supreme Kaisen. Gohan couldn't help but look at Whis. Whis said, that was before you became Supreme Kai. In the past, His Majesty the Omni King had called all universes together to hold a hide-and-seek contest. In the middle of that contest, Lord Beerus secretly hid and slept for 50 years. Lord Beerus never showed up, so the game had to be terminated, which made the Omni King furious and almost wiped out all the universes. This is why Lord Beerus is so afraid of His Majesty the Omni King now. In order to appease the king, the other 11 gods of destruction racked their brains. From then on, all the gods of destruction bore a grudge against Lord Beerus. Supreme Kaisen. This is indeed something that Lord Beerus would do. Gohan smiled and said, don't worry, Lord Shin, Lord Beerus is definitely the strongest among the gods of destruction. Mr. Gohan has great confidence in Lord Beerus. Whis smiled. Of course, because we all come from the same universe. As the gods on the stage were all eager to fight, the Grand Priest shouted, the second round of the overall competition has officially begun. With the Grand Priest's shout, all the gods of destruction, except Beerus, started to move. Oh no! 11 gods of destruction are attacking Lord Beerus. Shin was horrified. Sure enough, on the ring, 11 gods of destruction rushed towards Beerus at the same time, surrounding him tightly, forming an unbreakable joint attack. Gohan looked at the ring with shining eyes, imagining himself as Beerus, facing 11 gods of destruction at the same time, and couldn't help getting excited. Gods of destruction attacked Beerus from all directions and even from the sky. Beerus was not afraid of danger and sneered coldly. Come on, you useless sh*** who can't do anything without ganging up on each other. Whoosh! The fastest attack of the god of destruction arrived. Beerus turned his body to the side and automatically dodged the attack. The attacks of the other gods of destruction also arrived as expected. Beerus' body was like a boat on the water, swaying, but none of the attacks of the gods of destruction hit him. Gohan in the stands narrowed his eyes and whispered, this should be Ultra Instinct, right? Whis heard him. Yes, the body can judge and avoid attacks by itself, but Lord Beerus has not yet mastered it. Whis had occasionally told Gohan and Goku about Ultra Instinct when he was teaching them these past 2 years. This is a profound divine control technique that almost every angel can use, but not necessarily the god of destruction. Just like Beerus, he has only just started and has not yet mastered it. Actually, this divine skill is not suitable for me and Lord Beerus. Watching the game, Gohan frowned and said, oh, why do you say that? Whis glanced at Gohan and smiled. Because we can't calm down when we're fighting, which doesn't fit the aim of Ultra Instinct. Our fighting philosophy is madness, to surpass everyone, to surpass ourselves, to break the shackles one by one, to become the strongest. Mr. Gohan has grown up again. Whis smiled. On the ring, Beerus was finally hit by Quetella's punch and came out of Ultra Instinct. It seems that it is not suitable. Whis commented. Damn it, you stinky rat, try this. Beerus was furious, stomped his feet hard, and retreated violently, while a purple ki blast condensed in his hand and smashed out. Boom! The ki blast exploded, and several gods of destruction were hit. Thick smoke billowed, filling the entire ring in just a moment. Beerus took the opportunity to pounce, like a tiger pouncing on a pack of wolves, and knocked out 2 gods of destruction with just a few moves. The other gods of destruction also had a dispute, and no longer surrounded Beerus, but fought each other. After all, there is only one number one. Suddenly, strong ki explosions continued to be heard in the ring, and the speed of the fight could no longer be captured by the naked eye. If the Grand Priest had not arranged a protective shield, the terrifying ki fluctuations generated by the battle would have blown away all the viewing platforms. The god of destruction of the 8th universe, Liquire, looked like a fox. He shouted, HAA, and the fluffy tails behind him changed from 1 to 9. The 9 tails spread out like a peacock, and the tails continuously ejected dense ki attacks. Full ki, fire suppression. The crazy explosion swept the entire ring, and another god of destruction was knocked to the ground. The elephant god of destruction, Rumshi, of the 10th universe, opened his throat, ah! A long roar. Suddenly, a huge sound wave knocked over all the Supreme Kai who were watching the game. Most of the destroyer gods on the stage were also immobilized by this sonic attack. The Elephant King god of destruction rushed forward, knocking several destroyer gods to the ground in an instant. Gohan on the viewing platform also felt paralyzed all over. Supreme Kaisen fell to the ground, his pupils kept shrinking, he was dizzy, and said tremblingly, What happened? Whis introduced, Rumshi god of destruction has the loudest voice in the universe. People who hear his roar will experience temporary motor nerve paralysis, and it can even make a god-level man faint directly. Some gods of destruction can't move either. So scary, Shin struggled for a few times but couldn't stand up. Gohan squatted down and helped Shin up. On the ring, flames filled the sky, the beautiful god of destruction shot arrows through the air, and the clown god of destruction's dense key cards cut everywhere, making a mess. After a huge explosion, the surroundings suddenly became quiet. At this time, only the bruised rat god of destruction Quitella and Beerus were standing on the ring. The two were like old enemies, staring at each other's embarrassed appearance. Quitella kicked the god of destruction at his feet away and laughed, Ha, Beerus, you are the only one standing. Next, I will defeat you, the hairless cat, to prove that I am the strongest god of destruction. You damned rat, shut up, I am the strongest, Beerus also roared. Chapter 128. Aha! Let's fight it out. Beerus and Quitella rushed towards each other and hit each other in the face with their right fists at the same time. Then they flew out at the same time and fell to the ground. Their already bruised faces became even more swollen. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two gods of destruction lying on the ground panted, then struggled to stand up. Not far from them, the clown god of destruction, Belmod, who was also lying on the ground, secretly opened his eyes, and then quietly closed them again. In fact, several gods of destruction were still awake, but they didn't want to get up and fight again. It's pretty good to lie down and watch the cat and mouse fight. Damn, you hairless cat are so tenacious. Same here, you stinky rat, if you want to fight me, it's millions of years too early. Both guys were very stubborn, neither of them would give in. Even though they were already exhausted from fighting, they were still holding on with great willpower, hoping that the other would fall first. In the stands, Zeno said, Wow, although I can't see clearly, Beerus and Quitella are both very powerful. They have defeated many gods of destruction. Can't see clearly? The Grand Priest turned around and glanced. Yes, the battle between the gods of destruction was huge in power, with thick smoke all over the sky, and the speed was very fast, producing terrible explosions. There was no beauty in this battle like the battle between Gohan and Toppo just now. On the ring, Beerus and the rat god of destruction punched each other again and then fell to the ground at the same time. But this time only Beerus could barely get up. The rat god of destruction lay on the ground, watching Beerus staggering like a tumbler, but not falling down. He was furious, but helpless. Because he was already at the end of his strength and couldn't get up again. Seeing this, the Grand Priest counted down to 9, then flew into the air and announced loudly, The final winner of this battle of gods of destruction is Lord Beerus of the 7th universe. Ha ha ha. Hearing the announcement of the Grand Priest, Beerus laughed loudly and sat down on the ground. The 12 angels instantly came to the ring, waving their scepters and healing the gods of destruction in their own universes. In just a moment, all the gods of destruction recovered as before, and then returned to their own viewing platforms. Lord Beerus, you are awesome. Gohan gave Beerus a thumbs up. Humph, you've already won, so it would be embarrassing for me to lose, right? Beerus said with a grin. The same thing happened in the other stands. The gods of destruction and the Supreme Kai started talking in low voices. The Grand Priest and the Omni King were also discussing. After a moment, the Grand Priest stood in the air with his hands behind his back. So everyone. All the gods of destruction, angels, and Supreme Kai turned their gazes to the Grand Priest. The Grand Priest continued, "Your Majesty the Omni King likes this universal fighting tournament very much, so let's call it the Tournament of Power from now on. We have formulated the rules of the competition based on the 2 previous games." The gods were silent, waiting for the Grand Priest's next words. Because the power of the God of Destruction is too great, the God of Destruction is not allowed to participate in this Tournament of Power. Each universe needs to select 10 players other than the God of Destruction to participate in the competition. I will simplify the rules of the competition. 1. The total duration of this competition is 100 attacks, about 48 minutes. 2. No killing. The only way to win this Tournament of Power is to knock the opponent off the stage. Similarly, if the opponent faints on the ground, you can also win by throwing him out of the stage. 3. This Tournament of Power is a team free-for-all. All participating players will go on stage at the same time and fight within the specified time. The team with the most remaining players will win. If there is only one player left on the stage before the remaining time is up, the team of that player will win and he will become the best player. There are only 3 rules, so let's talk about the rewards for the winners. The best players will receive Super Dragon Balls as rewards, which can make any wish come true. Hearing the Super Dragon Balls, Kampa swallowed his saliva. The Grand Priest looked at him. He smiled and said, "Kampa, is this okay? Please hand over the 6 Dragon Balls in your hand, and I will be responsible for collecting the remaining one." Kampa laughed dryly, no problem. Some gods of destruction and kings of the universe may not know what Super Dragon Balls are. Super Dragon Balls are also called Super Wishing Balls. They were created by the dragon god Salama in the 41st year of the Divine Power Calendar. Each of them is the size of an asteroid. There are 7 of them in total, scattered across the 6th and 7th universes. After collecting all 7 Dragon Balls, you can use the Divine Dragon language to summon the Super Dragon to make a wish, and any wish can be fulfilled. It was the first time for several Supreme Kai and the Gods of Destruction to hear about the Super Dragon Balls, and they immediately felt that they had learned a lot. At this time, a stubborn Supreme Kai raised his hand. "My lord, I want to ask a question." "Please speak," said the Grand Priest. "Thank you," the bespectacled Universe 3 Supreme Kai said. "We already know the prizes for the best players, so what rewards will the winning universe get?" The Grand Priest smiled and said, "Nothing." The God of Destruction of the 3rd universe did not react. "I understand, it is honor, we will get honor." The Grand Priest shook his head. "No, nothing." Nothing? Almost all the gods of destruction and Supreme Kai had questions in their heads. How could there be nothing? The Grand Priest continued, "Nothing is the prize for winning. Because the winning universe will not be changed, and the losing universe will be eliminated by His Majesty the Omni King." The air suddenly became deathly silent. Some of the gods of destruction and kings of the universe even thought they had misheard. What did the Grand Priest just say? The failed universe will be eliminated? Only the winning universe will be left? Suddenly, a stone stirred up 1,000 waves. All the gods of destruction and King Kai broke out in cold sweat, and their backs were wet. What should we do? Even Beerus and Shin, who were informed by Gohan in advance, could not calm down, and great fear rose in their hearts. How could this happen? Some people were so upset that they remembered what the Grand Priest said when they first arrived at the temple of the Omni King. The Omni King manages 12 universes and is very exhausted. If all universes fail to come up with a game that satisfies His Majesty will solve the root problem and clear out some universes that make him tired. The Grand Priest continued, "Because His Majesty the Omni King has long felt that there are too many universes now, this is a good opportunity." That means only one universe can be left, right? A god of destruction asked unwillingly. The Grand Priest shook his head. "Not really, Universe 1, Universe 5, Universe 8, and Universe 12 will all be left because the average level of mortal in these 4 universes is higher than the others, so they don't have to participate in this tournament of power." Chapter 129. After hearing the words of the Grand Priest, The 4 universes that were exempted from the conference breathed a sigh of relief and were suddenly in a good mood. They were suddenly evacuated from the center of the disaster and came to a safe place, becoming spectators. This feeling is really wonderful, and there is a sense of secret satisfaction. At this moment, the god of destruction and the supreme Kai of the 1st, 5th, 8th, and 12th universes looked at the gods of the other 8 universes, and suddenly a feeling of gloating arose in their hearts. Phew, I'm saved. Fortunately, our hard work paid off. Good, great. The universes that needed to participate glared at them. The elephant god of destruction, Rumshi, asked, "What if the universe is pruned? What will happen to us gods of destruction?" The Grand Priest smiled and said, "Please don't worry about this problem. When the universe is cleared, all the gods will disappear with it except the guide angels." The gods of destruction and King Kais of those 8 universes suddenly felt sad. Vados said, "In other words, this tournament of power is actually to give those 8 unqualified universes a chance. As long as they win, they can survive. They were supposed to all disappear, right?" The Grand Priest nodded, "That's right, that's it." Supreme Kaishin quietly asked Whis, "Senior Whis, what is the average level of mortals in our universe?" Whis said, "The average level of the planets where humans live in our 7th universe is 3.18. Oh, that's not right. Lord Beerus has worked hard for a year and has improved a lot, reaching 3.81. It is currently the 3rd from the bottom. The second to last one is Lord Compass' 6th universe, with an average level of only 3.58, and the last one is the 9th universe, with an average level of only 1.86. Well. Damn it, it's all your fault. You still can't create a planet." Beerus glared at Shin. Shin weakly retorted, "Lord Beerus, don't you always sleep? You don't work at all." Ugh, damn it. Beerus held his head with both hands. The Grand Priest continued, "The venue of the tournament will be in the realm of nothingness. I will go there to build the arena. As for the time, it is set after 5 kikes. 5 kikes? When they heard the time, a lot of people were confused again. Converted to Earth time, it is only about 40 hours. It is too hasty to find 10 contestants in such a short time. This is a major event related to the life and death of the universe. It can't be fooled by just finding 10 people. Is there enough time?" Zeno asked at this time, "What's wrong? Is there a problem? I want to see the exciting game as soon as possible." No problem. The few destroyers who had raised doubts just now were scared again. "Okay, that's settled." The Grand Priest raised his hand and continued, "Gather the people and gather at any location in your own universe. I will teleport you to the arena. Well, don't be late. If you are late, you will not be allowed to participate. I would also like to add that weapons and drugs are prohibited in the competition. If you are found to be carrying them, your team will be disqualified. Okay, everyone, time is running out. I will teleport everyone back. Let's prepare for the tournament." The Grand Priest said, opening his arms. All the gods and angels disappeared in an instant and returned to their own universe. The 7th universe, Beerus planet. Damn it, why did this happen? Beerus clenched his fists, indignant. Then he whispered, "I won the game, but His Majesty the Omni King didn't even give me a reward." Ho ho ho, Lord Beerus is still thinking about the reward. Whis covered his mouth and chuckled. "Now, this is not the time to talk about this, shouldn't we decide on the contestants?" Supreme Kaishin said anxiously. "Ah, right, contestants." Beerus patted Gohan's shoulder heavily. "Boy, I leave it to you." "Ah, Lord Beerus is really a hands-off boss." "What else?" "I can't participate, and you're better than me at finding them." Beerus crossed his arms over his chest, and his words were beyond doubt. At this time, Piccolo, Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Broly all came over. Until this point, they had no idea what was going on. Goku asked, "Gohan, what happened?" "Here's the thing." Gohan immediately told everyone what happened. After hearing what Gohan said, several people were shocked. They were going to compete with fighters from other universes? When they heard the news, they were excited. But when they heard that if they lost the game, the universe would be wiped out, they were shrouded in a haze. That's the thing, so now we need to confirm 10 players to participate, Gohan said. 10 people, that's a bit too many, Piccolo touched his chin. We already have 6 fighters here, which means we need to find 4 more. I know one, the big android, number 16, Piccolo said. Having fought side by side with him, Piccolo had a deep memory of Android 16. Gohan nodded. Well, that's fine, then number 16 will be left to you, Uncle Piccolo, is that okay? No problem, although no. 16 has no breath, I will definitely find his trace in the Kami lookout, Piccolo said. Well, that means we need 3 more. Gohan looked at King Kai. Lord Supreme Kai, I want to release Majin Buu and let him participate in the competition. When Supreme Kai heard Majin Buu, his whole body twitched. No, Majin Buu is too dangerous, he said nervously. Beerus beside him crossed his arms and said, What are you afraid of? If he dares to cause trouble, I will be the first to destroy him. Well. Gohan continued, It's no problem, Lord Supreme Kai. Majin Buu was a very powerful opponent in the past, but now it's different. Except for you, everyone here can easily suppress him. And you said that Majin Buu became much kinder after absorbing the great Supreme Kai, so just try to communicate with him. If he is really impossible to communicate with, we will kill him directly. Gohan said, turning to look at Goku and Vegeta and said, Dad, Uncle Vegeta, this matter is left to you. You go with Supreme Kai to unseal Majin Buu. You can ask Old Kai for the solution. If Old Kai doesn't understand, then Master Whis definitely does. Beerus waved his hand and said, That old guy knows, go on then. Okay. So Goku, Vegeta, and Supreme Kai went to Supreme Kai's planet. Gohan looked at Trunks and said, Trunks, go find Master Roshi and learn Mafuba. What is Mafuba? Trunks asked in surprise. A move to seal the enemy, Master Roshi will tell you, Gohan said. Okay, Trunks left. 2 more. At this time, Broly looked at Gohan eagerly. Everyone was sent out, and he was the only one left. Is there anything I can do? He asked. Gohan looked at Broly, who looked a little silly and laughed. Come on, follow me to find the last 2 people. Chapter 130. Gohan took Broly to the underworld and found Lord Yama. When Lord Yama saw Gohan, he smiled and said, Mr. Gohan, Lord Kai has already told me what happened. You can just follow the ghost soldiers. Okay, alright, sorry for troubling you. Gohan nodded to the ghost soldiers who had been waiting for a long time. Please follow me. The ghost soldier was flattered. He knew Gohan. The previous Janemba incident that caused trouble in the underworld has become the most important historical event in recent years. As the savior, Gohan is remembered by all the people in the underworld. Under the leadership of the ghost soldier, Gohan and Broly found the person they were looking for. Cooler hanging on the tree of reflection in heaven. At this time, Cooler was wrapped into a big cocoon, with only his head exposed, and he couldn't move at all. And he was surrounded by beautiful fairies. Those fairies flapped their wings, danced gracefully, and melodious songs came from their throats. What a beautiful picture. And Cooler had a wooden face. You can't see him angry, nor can you see his happy expression. It doesn't matter. Suddenly, Cooler turned his head abruptly. Because he saw Gohan and Broly walking towards him. At this time, Cooler began to get angry. Gohan walked in front of him and raised his hand to touch his round head. Ugh, Cooler struggled frantically. Long time no see, Cooler. Gohan smiled as he stroked Cooler's head. Damn it, stop touching my head, get out of here. Oh, what are you talking about? Are you so angry now? This is not like you. Gohan said. Don't you know why I became so irritable? Cooler glared at him. Why? Isn't it nice for you to live here now? What a fart, let me go to hell quickly. Cooler said angrily. Really? This is the first time I've heard such a strange request. Does this mean you don't want to be resurrected? I do not want. Cooler said loudly, and then he heard the second half of Gohan's sentence. What did you say? Resurrection? Yes, resurrection. Do you want it? Gohan said with a smile. Cooler was silent for several seconds and said, You can't be so kind as to resurrect me for no reason. Tell me your conditions. Gohan said, We need you to participate in a game. After the game, I will let you be completely resurrected. Cooler frowned. Game? What do you mean? This is a fighting tournament between universes. Only if we win can our universe continue to survive, otherwise, we will be destroyed. You don't want to hang on this tree forever and then disappear inexplicably, do you? How about it? Wanna go with me? This means that I not only need to participate in the competition but also need to win. Yes, Cooler is very smart. Gohan touched his head. Bastard, I told you not to touch my head. Cooler struggled again. Okay, I promise, let go of your dirty hands. Hee, okay. Gohan laughed and brought Cooler back to King Yama. King Yama returned Cooler's body to him. This was what Gohan had specifically instructed, to keep Cooler's body. Unfortunately, during the Janemba incident, the souls of Frieza and others were completely destroyed, so another warrior is needed. King Yama granted Cooler 2 days of vacation, and he was brought back to Earth by the fortune-teller Baba, along with Gohan and Broly. Broly, it's up to you. Beat him up for a year and let him see your power. Gohan instructed Broly, and then arranged the two of them into the hyperbolic time chamber. On the other side, Piccolo also successfully found number 16 and successfully persuaded number 16 to join the team. On planet Kaisen, Vegeta and Goku used their own ki to successfully unlock Majin Buu. Goku has a pure personality and actually played with Majin Buu. Majin Buu is now like a cute fat man and looks harmless. Supreme Kai was stunned. Goku was still teaching Buu, don't kill people casually in the future, don't destroy recklessly. Buu nodded repeatedly. After spending most of the day together, the two seemed to have become old friends who had not seen each other for many years. However, in order to verify the strength of Majin Buu, Goku still turned into Super Saiyan 2 and fought with Majin Buu. As a result, he was defeated by Majin Buu's endless wonderful abilities. In the end, he had to turn into Super Saiyan 3 to defeat Majin Buu. Gohan teleported to the Kaisen realm and found Supreme Kai Shin. He went straight to the point and said, Lord Supreme Kai, we are short of the last warrior. Come with me to the Galactic Patrol headquarters. Supreme Kai Shin was surprised and said, The last warrior is at the Galactic Patrol headquarters? Gohan smiled and said, Almost. To be exact, it should be in the Galactic Prison. I'm not familiar with that place, so I need you, Lord Supreme Kai, to sort it out for me. He. Shin nodded. Well, in that case, let's go there quickly, Kibito. Yes, Kibito replied. Go to Galactic Patrol headquarters. Yes, Lord Kaisen. Kibito brought Supreme Kai and Gohan to the Galactic Patrol headquarters with his teleportation. With a series of operations by Supreme Kai, Gohan soon saw the Galactic King who looked like an octopus, and Meruz who was reporting on his work. Gohan looked at this trainee angel curiously. Meruz sensed Gohan's gaze and turned to look over. When their eyes met, Gohan smiled and nodded. Meruz also smiled and looked at Gohan a few more times. Gohan, what's the name of the person you want? After negotiating with the King of the Galaxy for a while, Supreme Kai turned around and asked Gohan. Oh, OG-73 imprisoned in the Galactic Prison, Seven Suri. Gohan said. Seven Suri? Okay, Meruz, take Lord Supreme Kai and the others to the Galaxy Prison and bring out this man they want, the Galaxy King said. Understood. Meruz nodded. Come with me, everyone. Meruz said, making a gesture of invitation, and then led Gohan and the other two to the Galaxy Prison. Excuse me, Officer Meruz. Gohan smiled. Maybe in the 7th universe, he was the only one who knew Meru's identity at this time. Even Whis might not have noticed Meru's existence. Who would have thought that a trainee angel would be an officer in the Galactic Patrol? On the way, Meruz, who had been silent, asked, "Excuse me, do you know Seven Suri?" He had been next to the few people just now and heard them talk about the Tournament of Power. So naturally he knew why they were looking for Seven Suri. Supreme Kaisen looked at Gohan, because he didn't know. Gohan smiled and said, "I only know a little, but not in detail." "Officer Meruz, can you introduce this person to us?" "Only know a little? Not in detail? Then why does he want this OG-73I by name?" Meruz looked at Gohan strangely, then said, "Seven Suri is Saganbo's subordinate and was once a member of the notorious Galaxy Bandits Brigade. I arrested them personally back then, but it cost a lot. This Seven Suri is a very difficult person. However, he is not actually a human being, but an artificial life form created by a planet with advanced science, so he has no emotions." "We have artificial humans on Earth," Gohan said. "Yes, you can also say it is a man-made person. And Seven Suri's ability is copying. He can steal the ability of others by touching their necks. The copied ability can last for 30 minutes. Moreover, Seven Suri's own strength is very strong, and his copying ability is even more powerful. Not only that, he can also store the abilities of 3 people and switch between them at any time. It's just that because it is an artificial life form, Seven Suri has no emotions and is a killing machine that only knows how to obey orders." Kaisen and Kibito were both shocked. As Meruz introduced them, they came to the Galaxy Prison. That wraps up this part of What If Reborn is Gohan in Future Timeline. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Just a quick reminder, What If Ninja in Jujutsu Kaisen will be going on hold soon, since we've nearly caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What if Reborn is Goku clone? What if Natsu has dual elements? What if Transmigrated in one piece and becoming a marine? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.